In this video, I'm going to cover some more 2D shapes and 3D shapes. We said that a circle was going to be a 2D shape. It's just two-dimensional. Whereas a sphere is something we call a 3D shape. Now, you've heard of a sphere before because every ball that you've seen, especially if it's a round ball, and planet Earth itself would be a sphere. So how we draw a sphere is very simple. We just take a point somewhere in the middle, and around that point we just draw lots of circles, same size circles, and then we get our sphere. So one circle would be a circle, but if we have one point and we draw lots of circles around that one point, we get a sphere. So if you look at this would be one example of a sphere. So this is a globe, so you can see this is planet Earth in a very small ball, and you can see it basically has circles all around, and that's how we form a sphere. So a sphere is a 3D structure because it's not just two-dimensional, it has thickness as well. But this would be a good example of a sphere, right? So a circle would just be a two-dimensional shape, and a sphere would be if we have, like, I can't draw it properly, but lots of circles around, eventually forming that one sphere. I'm going to quickly compare a circle, which is again is a 2D shape, to a cylinder, which is going to be a 3D shape. So if you look at this, the sofa here looks almost like a circle, so that would be two-dimensional. But if I play the full video footage, you can see that this is not actually a circle. The top part might be a circle, but the rest forms a cylinder. So the top part is a circle, but you can see it has thickness as well, so this would be its thickness. And the whole shape we don't call a circle, we call a cylinder. It's almost like, you can see, it's almost like we have lots of circles that are all stacked on top of each other. That's what we define as a cylinder. Right? So we have a face of a circle, so this here in green is a circle. But we don't just have one circle, we almost have lots of circles that are all stacked on top of each other. So this would be the stacks. And the stacks would be its thickness. Remember, anything that has thickness is a 3D shape, or other word for it would be a solid. So a cylinder is an example of a solid, a 3D shape, whereas a circle would be just a 2D shape. And another good example of a cylinder would be, for example, your Coke cans, or any type of cans would be good examples of cylinders. But just remember that cylinders are 3D shapes. Now the next 2D shape you should have all heard of, again that was a circle, you should have all heard of that before. But also the 3D shape, the cone, you would have all heard or at least seen before. Because what the cone is at its base, so this is the base, you basically have a circle. So this is a circle right here, that's a 2D shape. But this circle, what happens is they then, from that base, they all meet at one point. There's going to be lines that go across, and they all meet at one point at its apex. And that new shape, so base of a circle, and then all the lines meet at a apex, the top, that's what we call a cone. So this would be, you can see this, the circle here, and then all of the lines eventually meet at a bottom part, the apex, and this would be what we define as a cone. Right, so cone is a 3D shape, it has thickness to it, it's not two-dimensional. But remember that a cone is basically the base of a circle, and then all the lines meet at one point, which we usually refer to as its apex. And so that's a cone. Now in this video we covered other different types of solids. So far we've covered, in the last two videos, covered a total of 6 solids you need to know. And this one we've covered the sphere, which was basically, we start from one point, and around this one point we draw lots of circles, and eventually get a 3D structure. So a sphere is basically lots of circles. And examples of spheres would be our world, our globe, planet Earth, or a ball would all be examples of spheres. Now a cylinder, we said that a cylinder was basically like we have a circle, but we stack lots of circles on top of each other to get a cylinder. So like a Coke can, for example. A Coke can was a cylinder, or that sofa I showed you was also a cylinder. It's basically lots of circles stacked on top of each other. Now what a cone was, remember a cone had the base of a circle, but then we just found one point and we made all the lines meet at that one point. That was a cone. So for example, an ice cream cone was an example of a cone. But all of these are examples of 3D structures, a sphere, a cylinder, and a cone.